C'est YouTube. Se fait sauver par X-Men. C'est pas trop ce qui se passe. Var les morts. Mais let's go. Ok. Allons voir. Elle aime beaucoup la musique classique. On peut voir où on est sur la carte. On peut voir, on est ici.
What is this?
Oh.
Just a few favorites from my collection. Rescued and stored here just before I went off-world. Take a look, if you like. I'm curious to hear your impressions.
My friend is dead. Beta and Gaia are gone, and you want me to look at old paintings?
Don't be so quick to dismiss the comfort we can find in art, or the insight we might gain.
Examiner les œuvres d'art.
My favorite pairing. On the left is Woman Reading a Letter by Vermeer, a true master. And on the right is a forgery. Woman Reading Music, which fooled experts into believing it was a priceless original. Early in my career, I became fascinated with such deceptions. Eventually, I developed scanning software that could detect fakes with unparalleled accuracy.
Is that how you made enough money to buy your way onto the Odyssey?
Oh no. I made my real fortune later.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you keep the forgery?
I've always enjoyed studying the two side by side. Both painters capture light, color, and perspective. But what makes one a masterpiece and the other simply an imitation?
The forgery looks sharper.
Good eye. The details are crisp. The contrast bold. It tells us more, and yet we feel less.
What's in the letter?
Who can say? What does the painting tell you?
She's
Bon, on va avoir beaucoup de lore.
concerned.
Huh?
Whatever's written in the letter troubles her. A burden she can't put down.
Fascinating.
Why go through so much effort to make a fake masterpiece?
The forger initially painted under his own name, but found little success. His work was considered unremarkable. But when he took on the guise of Vermeer, suddenly it was celebrated as extraordinary.
But it was a lie. And he knew it.
Sometimes we struggle to glean what is real and imagined, even within ourselves. The irony of these two is that...
C'est abusé le lore qu'il y a pour un tableau.
He had no idea his work would become some of the most precious, most copied, most preserved pieces in all history.
Ok.
Selene and Endymion. She's the goddess of the moon, whereas he's a simple shepherd. Beside her is the god of love, Cupid.
So she's sneaking up on him?
More like visiting him in secret. The torch that Cupid bears represents Selene's undying infatuation with him. Though the two must remain apart, her love will forever burn.
And why can't
Ok, chez les œuvres.
and Endymion be together?
Selene took a vow of chastity, promising to never take a lover. So when she fell in love with Endymion, she could only visit him at night while he slept.
But then wouldn't she be breaking that vow?
Think of it as a forbidden love. Though circumstance keeps them apart, still they find a way to come together, however briefly.
Aren't Selene and Endymion cold?
Perhaps we should move on to another piece. Shall we move on? This is Rembrandt painting Jeremiah, a man in mourning.
Mourning what?
His home. the ancient city of Jerusalem. He foresaw its impending doom but could do nothing to prevent it. So instead he saved its treasures from destruction just as I saved these works. You could say we're kindred spirits.
About Jeremiah. If he knew his home would be destroyed, why didn't he save the people? Why save those relics?
He tried, but no one would listen to his warning, so he saved what he could.
But how did he know?
He was a prophet. He saw an army invade and destroy the city in a vision.
So it's more like he calculated which side would win a battle.
What matters is that he was right in the end. If not for him, all those wonders would have been lost forever. At least this way, some part of his world survived. You know what I like the most about this piece? Even though he's the sole survivor, his home in ruins, left with only the remnants of his world. The light keeps the shadows at bay.
There's still hope.
Precisely. Take as long as you like.
Ok.
A portrait of the painter, Rembrandt's son Titus, depicted in the habit of a monk.
I don't get it. Why would someone like you, with infinite resources, care about this painting of a boy in a hood?
It's not the image itself, but the feeling it conveys. The face is
Le
bright,
cadre est un peu abîmé. Hein.
but his eyes are downcast, heavy with misfortune. And the background seems to swallow all light. The painting is infused with a sense of loss.
I guess I understand how the painter feels.
Works of art such as these can often cause us to look inwards at our own lives. I'm sorry about your friend. Had I been able to intervene, I would have. But the risk of losing you as well was too great.
Everything went by in a blur. I couldn't get to him.
You know, long before holograms and focus recordings, people relied on art to memorialize their loved ones. Because of works like this painting, their lives are immortalized. Rembrandt had 4 children by his wife. All but Titus died shortly after she gave birth to them. She passed not long after that. Titus became the only family Rembrandt had.
Which is why he painted him this way.
Indeed. Then tragedy struck again. Disease claimed Titus at 26. It's almost as if Rembrandt painted the future, closing in on him. Rembrandt actually painted several portraits of Titus, but this one has always been my favorite. It's honest.
What do you mean?
In others, Titus was portrayed in brighter, livelier states, but here, Rembrandt allows himself to express his true feelings. Sorrow, fear, hope, love. Laid bare on canvas for all time. I see this one resonates deeply with you.
C'est cool la peinture.
Rembrandt's The Night Watch, by far the most famous painting my homeland ever produced. It was commissioned to honor a militia made up of
T'as vu
influential...
Nyarla, c'est le moment idéal.
I guess you must have been an influential citizen.
Bon, ça aide à construire le lore de TILDA, du coup, de Carrie Ann Moss, Trinity. Mais j'avoue que le tunnel art est peut-être un peu mal placé.
Where others painted such scenes in a stiff and stationary manner, Rembrandt chose to show them in action, preparing to...
Et avoir le point de vue TILDA, ouais, c'est ça.
He wanted them to feel alive.
Parce qu'en fait, on commence à comprendre ses motivations juste à partir des descriptions qu'elle nous fait des peintures. Donc c'est pas mal fait en vrai.
Strange one, isn't she? Bathed in light, though no one is paying attention to her. Many believe she's a symbol of the militia. A physical manifestation of their spirit, if you will.
But she's not real?
What's real in a painting? She's meant to represent the militia's virtue and victory. But I like to think they underestimate her. She looks as if she's seen something. What does she know? What secrets does she keep? There's so much detail to take in, isn't there?
Dernière peinture.
The Gust. By Willem van de Velde. The most famous
Ça aurait été mieux de déjeuner avec elle avant. Ouais.
maritime paintings.
Mais ça rajoute le côté mystérieux de voir les peintures avant.
I guess you're familiar with that.
Indeed, which is why I appreciate this composition in particular. Though waves and wind threaten to destroy the ship, it perseveres, clinging to the light even as darkness closes in all around it.
Where is the ship going?
To a faraway land, most likely. My ancestors used ships like these to explore the world, sometimes at great cost.
What were they looking for?
Anything of value. They were traders willing to face unknown dangers to make their fortunes. But no matter how far they went, they always turned their sails home.
So this Van de Velde only painted ships?
It was his specialty. Following in the footsteps of his father, Willem the Elder. The two had quite a journey of their own, taking them all the way to the court of a foreign kingdom.
Did they ever come home?
No, but eventually their lives worked it.
Oh, c'est un peu les ancêtres d'Aloy aussi, quoi. C'est un bébé éprouvette. Hein.
Take your time.
On vient tous du singe, hein. À un moment donné. Ok, on a fini les peintures. Bravo à nous. Peut-être qu'on peut m'en dire plus sur la sculpture qui est ici. Pas du tout. Ah, c'est pas tout à fait fini.
Stunning, isn't it? Paintings weren't the only masterpieces of my people's golden age. This is Van Vianen's leaded ewer, molded from a single sheet of silver.
What was it for?
How like Elizabeth you are. Function over form. Its practical purpose was less important than its meaning. Van Vianen created it in honor of his late brother, who himself was a famous silversmith.
A memorial?
Yes. Such beauty from sorrow.
If this ewer was a memorial, how did you end up with it?
C'est la dernière œuvre.
As the Pharaoh swarm closed in, my homeland's greatest museum gave it to me, along with many other works, in the hope that I could preserve them. A masterpiece like this was too important to lose to history. I even considered bringing it with me off-world to ensure its safety.
Why didn't you?
I took a calculated risk. This vault seemed more secure than the unknowns of space. Besides, I thought someday I might return. A long life, after all, has its advantages. Now, lo and behold, here I am. Exquisite, isn't it?
C'est fini? Je veux voir un truc. J'arriverai pas à faire une photo cool. Ok. Ça, on n'a pas le droit. Si, on peut examiner ça aussi.
Madness out of grief? It's hard to watch her suffer. I should move on.
Ah, mais il n'y a pas de TILDA qui nous explique des trucs. Ils avaient pas le budget pour faire doubler Carrie Ann Moss toutes les statues. C'est Atlas, ça, non? Il lui manque un peu... Il lui manque un truc sur le dos. Hop là! J'arrive pas de voir. Je me cache derrière la caisse. Ok, j'avoue. On prend le petit déj, Tilda? On se petit déjeune, là? Let's go.
There you are. Feeling better?
How did you find us? At the cauldron? And what did you do to everyone right before I passed out?
All business, I see. Well, suffice it to say we were keeping a very close eye on Hephaestus, knowing we would need it at some point. Your ruse didn't fool us, and as for my little trick, it was an overload of the senses, accompanied by an energy discharge. Gerard and Eric were only momentarily disoriented due to their shields, but it rendered you unconscious while I got you out. Perhaps some breakfast might steady you a bit?
This was your house. The one you recreated for Beta, in the data channel you shared.
How perceptive of you. Please, this way.
After everything your people have done, you think I'm just gonna sit down and have a chat with you?
They're not my people. They never were, and especially not now.
You shot off into space with them, and lived with them for 1,000 years before coming back. So what made you suddenly turn on them?
Quite simply, this.
My old focus. You repaired it? But that means you've seen
Incredible things. What you've accomplished in 2 decades of life. A 1,000 years at my back and I haven't even come close. I'm sorry if I invaded your privacy, but I had to. In order to understand. To be enlightened.
T'as compris des trucs?
You truly are Elizabeth's blood. With her drive, her sense of mission, her integrity. Watching all this shamed me for the company that I've kept. Having seen it, all I want is to help you.
even if it means stopping your friends?
Especially so. Please, sit down.
Tiens, on va bon les muffins là.
There. That's better. Now, we must recover Beta and Gaia at all costs. By now, you must know that Gerard intends to use Gaia to reboot the Earth's biosphere. Remaking this world to specifications that would only suit us immortals. This process will kill every living thing on the planet. He calls it a clean install.
Not if I stop him first.
Not if we do. And once he and the others are gone, we can work together to fulfill Elizabeth's dream. I'm sure Beta told you that there's a build of the Apollo database on board our ship. A complete collection of human knowledge. With that and Gaia, we could do everything Elizabeth wanted. Heal the biosphere, educate the people of this world, uplift them. Create the world she imagined.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. From what I've seen, your friends are invincible.
I do wish you would stop calling them my friends. And they're not invincible. In fact, a friend of yours has found a way to defeat them.
Silence.
Oh, he's been a busy bee, building an army powerful enough to crash through Gerard's precious base.
Yeah.
C'est vrai qu'on n'a pas réglé le problème de Regala.
And her rebels.
Even now, she's preparing a final march on the Tanakh capital. When she wins, she'll have the entire tribe under her control. Hundreds of warriors and machines to throw at the base. She's been duped. They'll all perish, of course. But it should be enough to break Gerard's defenses and allow Silence to kill him. Along with all the others.
Using the new weapon he's developed.
Yes, he's found a way to circumvent our shields. Truly an exceptional man. He's planned for everything. Except you and me. You see, while his army is battering down Gerard's doors, you and I will sneak in through a back way. One that only I know about. While Silence and my friends are busy battling each other, we'll take back Beta and Gaia. I told you I want to help you. I mean it.
My old focus. How did you find it, let alone repair it?
When we encountered you at the Hades Proving Lab, Gerard saw you as a redundancy. I knew better. You were a revelation. After your dramatic escape, bravo, by the way. Gerard and Eric assumed you were dead and gave up the hunt. I wasn't so sure. When the others were busy, I returned to the lab and searched for any trace of you. That's when I found this little treasure. Not easy to repair, but certainly worth the effort. As I watched your life unfold, you were like a splash of color on a worn canvas. What Liz was, and more.
Did you show it to the others?
Of course not. It was your actions that inspired me to defy them. It's worth noting that if I hadn't found it and watched its contents, I wouldn't have known to save you at the cauldron. You'd be dead.
So I should be grateful?
If you like.
C'est bizarre la tenue quand même.
So you know all about me. What about you?
What would you like to know?
Well, start with your life on Earth.
When I was 8, terrorists flooded my home city. Thousands drowned, my parents included. I was one of the few who survived. My guardian sent me to boarding school. Among my peers, I was the strange girl, the orphan to be avoided. All because of circumstances beyond my control.
Oh. So we're a lot alike, huh?
Aren't we? You were an outcast. But you didn't let that stop you from getting what you needed. Neither did I. I climbed my way out of desolation and used my wits to build a fortune. First, from the technical analysis of art and the detection of forgeries. Profitable expertise in those days. But as it turned out, the software I developed was even more useful for counterintelligence. From there, it was only a short step to gathering extremely valuable intelligence on my own.
You were a spy?
More like a service one could turn to for information. I had to remain anonymous, of course, to protect my privacy. But despite that anonymity, Far Zenith inevitably sought me out.
What happened when Far Zenith approached you?
They painted an irresistible vision of humanity's future. One where we need not fear illness or death, where we explored the furthest reaches of the stars and thrived. It was only later that I realized that they only intended to bequeath this future to the rich and powerful. By the time I finally figured it out, the walls were closing in, Pharaoh's machines were devouring the earth. So I accepted Far Zenith's invitation to a berth on the Odyssey. I wanted Liz to come, but she had nobler plans, as you well know.
So you didn't know the other Zeniths were monsters until it was too late?
I knew some of them were, certainly. It wasn't until we were off-planet that I understood the true scope of their greed. I was grateful to simply be alive, but the others became obsessed with a kind of effortless immortality. They built a colony where machines serviced their every need, where any memory or fantasy could be endlessly savored in virtual reality. It wasn't life. It was stultifying, a pampered dream state. As the decades passed, I withdrew more and more, alone yet again, but this time with eons to consider my mistakes. Now finally, having met you, I feel like I have a second chance.
To do what?
Help you, of course. To fulfill Liz's dream, which isn't so different from Farzenith's original vision. A better future for humanity.
You said Beta's
Okay.
in urgent danger, so what are the Zeniths doing to her?
Putting her to work. Merging Hephaestus with Gaia. A difficult, time-consuming task, as I'm sure you know. They will compel her if need be. But her life is not in danger. She's the only one who can do it.
Because you people made her to be nothing but a tool.
Gerard's idea, not mine. They always viewed me with suspicion when I attempted any form of kindness towards her. That's why I created the data channel. A virtual place where we could speak in peace.
So this channel you shared with Beta, none of the other Zeniths ever found out about it.
Gerard believes he's the most cunning of all of us. Even after 1,000 years, he still can't imagine that I would outwit him. The channel allowed me to interact with Beta away from their mistrustful eyes. It offered us a chance to be ourselves.
Until you cut off all
I was worried that our meetings would do her more harm than good.
Oh non, Echo. Ah désolé, t'as pas pu...
I was afraid the others would find out and punish her. She may not have had the comfort.
T'as pas pu annuler ton abo, je comprends. Merci quand même, hein.
I know it seems harsh, but you must believe that her well-being.
Casser l'ambiance là, on est dans le lore, chut. Chut. Je reviens 3 secondes, 30 secondes. Dire merci beaucoup, Echo. 17e mois d'abo. C'est exceptionnel. Merci beaucoup, des gros bisous. On retourne dans le tunnel de blabla.
Why did you make the data channel look like this place?
I built this house as a shelter to weather any storm. A safe place. Not just for me, but for the art stored below. Cultural artifacts of incalculable value. Truly some of the greatest achievements of human civilization.
And you wanted Beta to see them?
Yes. Her upbringing was so cold and technical. I thought if she could experience Vermeer and Rembrandt, it would bring something else into her life. A heritage every bit as valuable as the scientific and technical data being drummed into her. I'm sorry I had to cut off contact, but I'll never regret sharing this house with her. She needed its shelter even more than I did.
Le plan des Zéniths.
Beta told me your colony was destroyed. That you came back to Earth because you had nowhere else to go.
It's true. After we reached our destination, a planet in the Sirius star system, we spent decades building a new home. The physical constraints of Earth, the boundaries of mortality, gone. To think of what we could have done with it. It might have been a utopia. Instead, we stagnated, absorbed in effortless comforts and virtual realities. It took a cataclysm to finally yank us out of our stupor.
What happened?
A massive geological event. We knew of instabilities in the planet core, but we underestimated them. By the time the collapse was upon us, it was too late to stop it. Only a few of us made it to the ship in time. We set course for Earth, the only safe harbor left to us.
Which you decided
Vous êtes 3 survivants?
safe for anyone else.
Non, parce qu'il y en avait d'autres.
not me.
Il y a celle qui est morte aussi au creuset. Ok.
He believes it's better to wipe the canvas clean than work around the smudges. No more primitive tribes, no more combat machines, only a blank slate to do with as he pleases. But we will stop him. All we have to do is get into that base.
What exactly is your plan to sneak into the Zenith base?
We will make use of a lesson I learned from an early age. Always know your exits. In this case, a place where Gerard's new construction meets the ancient foundation, a passage that only I can access. When Silence flings his army at the base, we will enter through this back door, bypassing most of the fighting. The distraction will provide us with a window in which to rescue Beta and Gaia.
Once we're inside the base, where will we find Beta and Gaia?
Here in the command center. By then, Gaia will have been reunited with all of its subordinate functions, including Hephaestus.
What about the alpha build of Apollo on your ship?
A simple matter of recovery once the others have been dealt with. With that in hand, we'll have everything we need to make this world as it should be.
How do you know about Silence's plan?
He isn't the only one adept at spyware.
You hacked his focus?
No, he's too careful for that. But his subordinates? Not so much. He gave additional focuses to the tribals he branded the Sons of Prometheus.
The ones working with Regala.
By tapping their focuses, I learned about most of his dealings. The distribution of override technology, the arming of Tanakh rebels, and the secret pact with Regala to attack Gerard's base.
But how did he come up with a weapon that can take down your shields?
That's the one thing I haven't been able to figure out, but however he did it, I'm quite certain it will work. With it and the Tanakh army, victory seems to be within his grasp. Such a shame he'll be disappointed.
J'avoue que les sous-titres blanc sur blanc, c'est pas ouf. Mais normalement, en fait, des fois, ils mettent des... Enfin, dans le jeu, des fois, ils mettent des fonds noirs derrière les sous-titres. Je sais pas pourquoi, là, ça le fait pas. Mais bon, tranquille. Hein.
Regala's only interested in killing Hekarro and waging war on the Karja. What does she have to gain by attacking Zeniths?
It's the price she must pay for her war. Without the ability to override machines, her little rebellion would have languished in the desert.
So she trades with the Sons of Prometheus. Machines to help her overthrow Hekarro.
In exchange for an assault on the base. Pride has deluded her into thinking she can actually survive such a battle. And all without ever knowing who the Sons of Prometheus really answer to. Yet for all of Silence's brilliance, still he underestimates you. That blind spot is what will allow us to take Beta and Gaia right out from under him.
While hundreds of Tanakh are cut down outside.
Je suis pas trop Midova. Là, on a fait avancer l'histoire. On est vraiment dans le... on est dans le lore, je sais pas. Je bois le thé avec des X-Men. Les muffins ont l'air super bons. On est dans du lore. Ça, super, sinon Midova. Tunnel de dialogue bientôt fini.
So you knew Elizabeth. What was she like?
Liz was everything she was. I see in you. And more. Your ingenuity, your determination, your moral compass. You've managed to distill her greatest qualities and make them your own.
I'm not asking about me. Tell me about Elizabeth. What was she really like?
The honest answer is that I don't actually know. For all the time that I spent with her, she always kept a part of herself locked away. It was like that from the moment we met.
Tilda. C'est Carrie Ann Moss. Trinity. Elle arrête pas de se lever et de descendre. C'est pour rendre les cinématiques plus vivantes, vous comprenez? Bon, le problème, c'est que oui, ça fait bouger les personnages. Mais en fait, c'est pas logique. Enfin, nous, on aurait cette discussion, on resterait assis, on boufferait tous les muffins. Mais bon, tranquille.
So when you met Elizabeth, she was what? Distant? Aloof?
Not aloof. Not exactly. It was a summit in Paris about machine learning. A touchy subject in those days. Because regulatory authorities were just starting to clamp down on AIs. Liz gave the keynote address. She had already achieved great renown for her work in automated environmental reclamation. But in her address, she was just starting to imagine the next step. An AI-driven system that wouldn't just act on its programming, but actually take responsibility for its sphere of influence.
To care about life. Not just follow orders.
Revolutionary stuff. I was fascinated. And I wanted to meet her for a long time. I watched her after her talk. She had spoken with such moral authority, such empathy. But after that, she retreated. I could tell she felt uncomfortable with all of her admirers. It was as if giving the talk had cost her something. I didn't want to be a pest, so I planned my approach carefully.
So how did you finally approach Elizabeth after her talk?
I picked the right moment. The morning of the next day, right as she came back to the conference, she had just had her coffee. She was fresh, rested. It was like she had braced herself for the onslaught of colleagues. I asked if I could walk with her, then put forth a question about her talk that I thought was intelligent. Her answer made me realize it wasn't, but she was very welcoming. Almost as if we were previously acquainted. It was only halfway through the conversation that I realized she knew exactly who I was. It was quite a shock to me. My business was trafficking in secrets, and I took great pains to protect my anonymity. So that was Liz, perpetually one step ahead. I came to view our meeting as a metaphor for our friendship. She always seemed to know me far better than I knew her.
I guess I know the feeling.
Très bon l'ice tea. Bande de mécréants. Bon. Avançons.
First Varl. Now Hikaru and the Tenakth. Your plan would wipe out an entire tribe. There has to be another way.
We are in an admittedly desperate situation, but I assure you there isn't. Remember Zero Dawn. Elizabeth's sacrifice. Sometimes many have to die for a new world to grow.
If it looks impossible, look deeper. Wait. The data channel. It still exists, doesn't it? I need you to open it. Let me talk to Beta.
Impossible. We might be detected.
It's worth the risk. There is another way, one where the Tenakth survive.
But we won't. If the others...
If you want to help, open it.
Et malin pour la petite.
What are they doing to her?
Virtual reality dissociation. The manual merge of Hephaestus will take hours upon hours of tedious micromanagement. If she resists the work, they run simulations to induce feelings of isolation and despair.
Beta, can you hear me? You're alive. They're watching me. I can't hold up this extra protection for long. You should have killed me. No. No, look at me. I'm coming for you. I promise. Okay? I just need you to hold out a little while longer and work on the merge. Then I think it can be done. I'll contact again when it's time.
OMG, elle lui a dit un truc que Trinity elle est pas au courant.
Coming for me. I can endure anything.
Je vais essayer de dire quelque chose, ouais. Les cheveux, bon, il y a quelques bugs graphiques, mais ça va. J'ai jamais eu de problème avec vos cheveux, vous? C'est bon.
All right. I did as you asked. Now I think you need to tell me what you're planning.
I'm going to take Silent's army away. I don't need it. Only the weapon he made to penetrate your shields.
And how do you propose to get it? Ask him nicely?
Without Regala and her rebels, he won't have a choice. We'll be his only option.
Only option for what? What did you tell her?
That is between me and my sister. Will be Silent's only option for crashing that base. I'll tell you the rest later. But first, there are a couple of things I have to do.
Oh. And what are those?
Lay my friend to rest. And then I'm going to use the override that Beta gave me at Gemini to put an end to Regala's rebellion. From the air.
Wait. Since you insist on doing things your way, I know of something that will truly help you make a grand entrance with the Tenat. The ancient Horus Titans still possess electromagnetic energy cells as part of their arsenal. Drop one of those on Regala's army and they'll receive quite a surprise. So go, do what you must. I'll come to your base if you manage to bring silence to the table.
Not if. When.
Adieu, Tilda.
Erend, are you there?
Aloy! Aloy, is that really you?
Yeah, it's me. Where's everyone else?
We're all... we're back at base. What happened?
It might be easier to explain in person. I'll try to join you there when I can.
Okay. We'll wait here for you. It's good to hear your voice, Aloy.
Très bien, donc le tunnel de dialogue n'est pas fini. On va retourner à la base et on va avoir un dialogue avec tout le monde, ça va être énorme. C'est vrai que je sais bien que pas mal de mes viewers sont chauves, mais ne vous inquiétez pas. Bientôt, le streamer sera chauve aussi, donc tout rentrera dans l'ordre. Tout rentrera dans l'ordre. On sera tous chauves, on sera tous bien. Bon, du coup, je suppose que c'est... en train de se mater ses œuvres d'art, là, on n'a plus rien à foutre de moi. Le fils faisait la guerre, je buvais du thé. C'est vrai, c'est un peu ça. Varl est dead apparemment. C'est vrai, oui, Varl est dead. C'est la nouveauté, Varl est totalement dead. Le tunnel du dialogue sera plus court, c'est vrai, mais bon, on va se taper la cérémonie et tout. Oh, une piscine! Je pense qu'il y avait de l'eau là avant, mais... Mais d'accord, mais il y a des gens à côté. Pourquoi on n'a jamais été là? Parce qu'il n'y a rien en fait. Là, il y a de l'eau et là, c'est la base des zéniths, donc on n'ira jamais. Ok, il n'y a pas un... C'est quoi ça?
Going down.
Just to let you know, I'm now patched into your focus network.
Great. I take it the other Zeniths can't hear us?
Of course not. And they don't know about your base either, in case you were wondering. I've sent you data on the Horus energy cells you can use against Regala's forces. Reach out to me when you're ready to acquire one.
Understood.
Je sais pas trop comment je vais pouvoir monter par là peut-être. On sait Crocol d'ici de vers là. Je viens de discussion autour de ce perso débutant, l'espèce va être dévasté. Tout le monde est dévasté par la de Verde. En vrai, plus on avançait dans le jeu, plus il devenait supportable. Donc j'avoue que c'est un peu chiant qu'il soit mort, mais bon, tranquille quoi. Il fallait en fait, dans les histoires comme ça, il faut qu'il y ait un mort pour réveiller les troupes. Passer un moment. Voilà, c'est tombé sur Var là. Super. Je pense pas qu'on aura d'autres morts dans le jeu. Moi je prends les paris que plus personne va mourir dans le jeu. Peut-être bêta à la fin, remarque. Mais je suis même pas sûr de ça, je pense pas. Excusez-moi, attendez, bougez pas, j'essaie de gruger le jeu pour monter, voilà. C'est une fleur de métal, ok, mais elle est dessous. Mais on peut y aller par là en fait. OMG, quel jeu de merde! C'est le mec de la bande, fallait qu'il meure. Mais non, il y a Erend et Kotalo. Il y a plein de mecs. Il y a que des mecs. Maintenant, c'est égalité par contre. Il y a 2 mecs, 2 filles. Enfin non, il y a 3 mecs, 3 filles. Il y a 2 mecs, 3 filles maintenant. Si TILDA nous rejoint. Il fait quoi, Erend? Erend, il a été... Ils ont fait diversion là pendant l'attaque des Gémeaux. Ils ont été dans d'autres creusets et fait diversion. Pour pas que les ennemis nous trouvent. Bon, ça a pas marché. OMG, j'arrive à jouer au jeu. Et il y a Kotalo aussi.
Pack's full, but my stash has room.
C'est non. Bon ok, on retourne à la base, on va se bouffer le dialogue là. C'est le moment, j'ai envie de bouffer le dialogue. Les LD10, c'est une mission importante, on a des quêtes secondaires qui vont se débloquer. Enfin, on a des quêtes secondaires qui traînent depuis longtemps qui vont se débloquer après les LD10. Il est parti faire un truc qui a servi à rien. Bah en fait, si c'était utile. Parce que ça aurait pu marcher quoi. Comme toutes les diversions, des fois ça marche, des fois ça marche pas. Vous êtes méchant avec Eren. Hein. Vous êtes méchant, hein. C'était le plan, hein. Attention, ils vont tout chialer. Parce que Var est dead.
When you're wounded, you have to strike back. Draw blood.
Hey! Can I get one damn minute?
Ah, ils savent déjà qu'il est mort.
Regala is going to slaughter my tribe to overthrow Hikaru. The Zeniths have Beta and Gaia. We can't sit around wallowing in our losses.
Kotalo's right. We must fight.
Oh, all right. So what are we gonna do, huh? Take on all of Regala's rebels?
Not to mention the Zeniths. What can we even do? Throw ourselves at their base?
Something like that. So...
After we lost contact with you, we regrouped and went to Gemini. What happened? The recording we found on Varl's focus cut off when that Zenith, Eric...
The Zeniths were tracking Hephaestus. When Gaia trapped it in Gemini, they knew where we were. After... Varl tried to stop them. They took Beta and Gaia. I only survived because one of the Zeniths turned against the others to save me.
One of them? Well... At least we didn't lose you too. So what do we do now?
We're going to defeat the Zeniths. And get Beta and Gaia back. But first... We're going to stop Regala.
How?
Back in Gemini, Beta gave me a gift. There's something I need to do first to make it work, but it could put an end to the bloodshed.
Word is, Regala's readying her army for an all-out assault on the Grove. I need to be there.
I know. Go. Stand with Hikaru. And keep an eye on the sky.
Strike true as the 10.
The rest of you, whatever preparations you need to make, upgrades, resupplies, get on it. It won't be long before we take the fight to the Zenith.
We'll be ready, Aloy.
Oh, c'est la musique de bataille.
Meet me outside the east exit. I'd like to have a word in private.
Oh, j'adore les dialogues.
Even when things are darkest, you're the flame that lights the way forward.
Just tell me one thing. Am I gonna get to smash up a bunch of Zenith bastards?
We all are.
Good.
J'ai pas la rêve de la poêle géante pour que Talo non plus.
Before I do anything else, I should check on Zoe. It sounded important.
Ok, nous sommes dans la base et c'est parti pour 800 dialogues. J'adore les dialogues. Dialogue.
I thought you were gonna go fight some Tanaks.
I wanted to check in with you first.
Yeah, don't worry about me. I'm just, picking up the pieces like everyone else. I'll be there when you need me.
I never doubted that.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're back.
So am I. I know you hate waiting, but you'll have to stay back here a little longer.
Well, you go do what you gotta do, but are you okay? It's not just Varl we lost. Beta's gone. I almost lost it when I realized my sister had been taken by Derval back in the Sundom.
I'm getting her back. That's all that matters.
Understood.
Et le Kotalo, fallait le chercher loin quand même, mis de bas. Hein.
Do you think Zoe will be okay?
I don't think anyone's ever okay after losing the one they love. I can't tell you she's handling it better than I ever did. That keeps the rest of us level-headed.
J'avoue. Adieu.
I need to get going.
Bon, l'avantage c'est que Beta est plus là et Varl est mort, donc il y a moins de dialogue.
He tries to take on Regala's entire army by himself. Yeah, do me a favor. Don't go disappearing on us again.
I'll do my best.
Il reste Alva.
You look busy.
My studies are a good distraction, especially after Cauldron Gemini. Varl, Beta, Gaia, gone. And that's just the beginning. The Zeniths want to rob us of our future too.
We won't let that happen.
Regala n'est pas allié au Zénith, non. Regala est allié à Silence. Silence allait voir Regala pour lui dire je sais comment on contrôle les machines et tout, blablabla. Bla bla bla. Parce que Silence veut une armée, du coup il a fait ami avec Regala. Il dit ouais, je sais qu'on contrôle les machines et tout et tout. Puis après Silence il a fait regarde, il y a des Zéniths là, ils sont méchants et tout, ils ont des pouvoirs, c'est des X-Men. Du coup il faudrait qu'on devienne plus puissant pour aller les fumer. En fait Silence se sert de Regala pour obtenir ce qu'il veut. Et en l'occurrence, il l'aide à s'emparer du trône Tenax pour pouvoir ensuite utiliser elle et son armée pour aller fumer les Zéniths. Parce qu'il a réussi à développer une arme qui passe à travers leur bouclier. C'est quoi les objectifs de groupe déjà? Que veulent les Zéniths et que veut Regala? Regala, elle veut le contrôle de la tribu Tenact depuis qu'elle a été bannie. Elle veut sa revanche sur le chef Hikaru. Du coup, Silence l'aide à l'obtenir. Pour que après, Regala l'aide à aller attaquer la base des Zéniths. Parce que Silence, il veut pas les Zéniths. Et les Zéniths, leur but, c'est qu'ils sont partis de leur planète là où ils étaient parce qu'il y a eu une catastrophe écologique et que littéralement la planète est devenue invivable. Du coup, ils ont décidé de revenir sur Terre, ceux qui ont survécu, pour y vivre. Et du coup, ils cherchaient Gaïa et Héphaïstos, ce qu'on leur a donné sur un plateau, avec la dernière attaque dans les Gémeaux. pour pouvoir terraformer la Terre à leur façon, de manière à exterminer toutes les formes de vie et les machines qui sont déjà là, et pouvoir la reformer pour eux immortels. C'est ce que cherche à faire Gérard, le leader des Zéniths. Marché un peu bancal, quand l'un des deux auront ce qu'ils veulent, c'est la porte ouverte à la trahison. Bon, je sais pas, peut-être, ils doivent se faire confiance quand même, parce que Silence, il l'a bien rincé, Regala, donc bon, voilà. Et Silence, c'est un petit fourbe, donc il doit toujours avoir un plan B pour supprimer Regala.
How are you holding up?
Varl's loss is heavy on everyone's mind. I didn't know him well, but I can see how much he meant to the others. Zoe and Aaron seem to have taken to it the hardest, but I don't quite know what to say to them.
They need time to sort through it.
And what about you? Will time heal your wounds?
I don't know. I try not to think about it.
Et là, du coup, la prochaine mission qu'on va faire, là, sous peu, enfin même juste après les dialogues, ça va être d'empêcher que Regala prenne le contrôle des Tenacts. On va supprimer sa rébellion pour que Silence s'allie à nous, puisqu'il aura plus Regala, et qu'il nous donne le plan de l'arme pour fumer le bouclier des Zéniths.
Seems like everyone's ready to take the fight to the enemy.
Totalement ça, mis de bas.
If I were this Regala,
C'est
I
Zod.
wouldn't want to cross him on the battlefield.
Regala still has a lot of machines on her side.
That's where you come in, I suspect.
If my plan works.
T'as vu, Synchro?
So, all of the tribes here are new to you?
Yes, I've been studying up on them. The most fascinating one thus far has been the Tenakt, an entire culture based on the holograms of an ancient museum. There's much they've misinterpreted, not unlike the Quen. But still, there's a nobility to what they've become. They're honorable and fearless.
And deadly. Tilda, the Zenith that Beta mentioned, she was the one who rescued me.
Did she say why?
She knew Elizabeth Sobek. Seems to think helping me is honoring her in some way. She was willing to share information on both Silence's plans and the other Zeniths.
But you still don't trust her. Where I come from, the more valuable the knowledge shared, the higher the price extracted. I'd be careful if I were you, Aloy.
Adieu!
I should get going. Be ready to go on my signal, okay?
I won't let you down.
I know.
On est dans le tunnel de dialogue. On est bientôt sorti, il n'y a plus de dialogue à faire de toute façon. La Kotalo, elle est déjà partie. Et Kotalo, il s'est barré à la tribu. Parlez à Zo. Ah, c'est la quête. Zozo. T'es là, Zozo? Zozo, Zozo. Zo. Ils sont tous sauvés par un Onyogo. On finira probablement Cult of the Lamb demain dans la journée. Je pense je streamerai demain dans la journée et je finirai Cult of the Lamb. Si jamais. Wow.
Over here, Aloy.
Je pars mardi. De mardi à vendredi normalement. Et quoi? Donc demain sera le dernier stream avant minimum le week-end prochain, je pense.
To tend to the garden. Sometimes I needed fresh air. Other times we would simply sit and watch the sunrise. So when we returned from Gemini, it seemed fitting that he be laid to rest here. Now he can always look out at Plain Song and further east to the Nora Sacred Lands.
He would have liked that.
He often spoke of his sister, Bala. He said she used to gather her favorite golden blooms and tie them to her spear. Their mother called it useless, but Vala was stubborn.
Yeah, she seemed like that.
It wasn't easy. But I tracked down the flower. Gathered its seeds. As verdant limbs wither, roots rot in snow, still the sea rises, as certain as stone. From death follows new life. So it is with the land. And so it is with us.
Elle est enceinte!
I'm with child, Aloy. I was going to tell him when he got back from Gemini. Instead, one day, I'll bring our child here.
Y'a pas de papa. Pas de papa.
The blooms.
Elle va donner naissance à Stromae. Elle va chanter Papa Outé.
And watch the sunrise.
I never got to tell him. To thank him. For saving my life, sure, but also... for not giving up on me.
He always knew.
Une gare de l'été. C'est la bonus track de la Zizi Kaka mixtape. Le jeu est beau, ouais, mais je pense que c'est un des plus beaux jeux qui existent actuellement. Horizon, par contre. Large, hein, de très loin.
I'll try to visit again when I can. But for now, I need to go to the fabrication terminal to install the new override on my spear. Then I'll use it on a sunwing and get ready for an entrance Regala will never forget.
Let's go! Fabriquons le piratage de l'aile des lions. Et on fera tout ça dans la prochaine VOD YouTube. Adieu! J'espère que tu as aimé le lore.